we're just going to dive right in. I see all of you guys coming on. Hey, Caitlin. I see some familiar faces. I see some new faces as well. So very, very quickly, I'll do a very brief introduction into who I am and everything like that. Bear with me, please. I am 9 months pregnant, so speaking and breathing all at the same time can be very difficult sometimes. So I'll probably be pausing for like some water breaks and stuff like that. I'm currently standing. I might move my desk down to sit at certain points, but we're gonna roll with it. So welcome to day 2, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to participate in this summit. When Haley approached me about this, honestly, I was like thinking, on one hand, I'm 9 months pregnant, my plate is kind of full, don't really want to, but, big but, and this is where adapting comes in. I'm going to be talking to you guys about adapting rather than pivoting. My but was when she told me about the cause of how, it's not just a summit. It's not just like this free thing where we're sharing all this amazing value, which we should be doing, but we're also not only here to support ourselves in this business, in our business and personal development growth, but we're also, all the proceeds are going to single mothers in need right now, which I was like, hey, there's a cause behind this. I can get behind this. So I reorganized my schedule and everything. I adapted to make this work because I wanted to be here. So today we're going to be talking about adapting. And so as you're coming on, I would love to know, okay, everyone's saying love those earrings. Thank you. Got them in San Diego, which I wish I could just fly to San Diego right now, but that's not happening. I'm currently in Toronto. I would love to know where you guys are. I would also love to know what type of entrepreneur you are, what type of business owner you are. That way I kind of know who we're talking to and I can gear the training towards you specifically. So what you do, how far along you are in business, that type of stuff, general broad overview is great. And as we go through the training, ask your questions, continue to engage with me. If you're watching the replay, do the same thing because I always come back to the comments and support you in that box. So Los Angeles, amazing, amazing, amazing. Oh, Natalie, I'm in Toronto too. Yay. Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. We have a very heavy filled training, and I honestly don't even know how I'm going to fit it all in, which is why I've provided 2 additional resources for you. So on Monday, when we started this, really kicked it off, actually we kicked it off earlier than Monday, but on Monday, I think it was, we all dropped in our additional resources on a certain link. That link has a link to a free course called Unlocked Potential. I also put it in the description of this video. That is going to support you through this training. It's almost like the foundational work that you need to know in order to really take this training to the next level. So grab that link, sign up for it. It will support you in understanding neurolinguistic programming and emotional freedom technique and how you can utilize that for yourself to step into your power, but then also how to use it for your clients if you are a coach, a healer, a light worker, or even in sales. So even if you're a service-based entrepreneur, but you're not a coach specifically, that will support you as well. The next resource that I've provided you with, which we're going to be it's more along the lines of what we're talking about today, is the Online Entrepreneur's Guide to Thriving in Unprecedented Times, because we're all about pivoting right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear, and so I created a guide specifically for this training. So go download that now. That way you have it for the training, and I'm going to be going through, not the whole thing, but I'm going to be going through elements of it and speaking about it in further detail. Are we good? Yes, we're good. Okay, you're all saying where you're from. Beautiful, beautiful. I'll check into the comments every few water breaks. That way we can just keep rolling. See, already on a water break. Told you guys, I'm gonna need it. All right, so in case you haven't met me before, my name is Rachel Joy, and I'm a lifestyle designer and spiritual success coach. More research for certifying other coaches, healers, and light workers in the healing modalities of NLP, neurolinguistic programming, EFT, emotional freedom technique, clinical hypnotherapy, time techniques, and life and success coaching as a certified trainer. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of strategy that you probably have never heard about before, because it's not like the typical launch strategy where you do a free challenge and then you send out an email campaign. Like, yes, that stuff works. And yes, you kind of have to know that stuff, but you also have to know the energy, which we did yesterday. And you also have to know how the human mind works for yourself and also for your consumer. So that's what we're going to be diving into today, and why it's so important to actually adapt rather than pivot right now. So as we go through this training, if there's anything that is resonating with you, obviously post it in the comments, but please tag and share, because tickets are still on sale. So the more you tag and share, the more I can see you, I can repost you, and then we can get the swipe up happening, and we can get more donations happening for single mothers. So my Instagram handle is at @TheRachelJoy1, at TheRachelJoy 1. Okay, so tag me and we'll get rocking and rolling. So in case we've never met, not only is that what I do, but I am also the queen of pivots, okay? I've had many pivots in my life. And like from even like before I became a coach, like I've pivoted my target audience, I've pivoted my messages, I've pivoted launches and programs, and even stopped things mid-launch. So I understand the pivot very, very well, when it's necessary and when it's not necessary. The second link is asking for an SMS number. Is it a mandatory thing? It shouldn't be mandatory, Candy. So please let me know about that. But the SMS is really just to get reminders about giveaways and training. So it's nothing spammy. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm the queen of pivots. Done it enough times. Even when I went to school, I went from media arts to addiction counseling to psychology, to dropping out of psychology because I was freshly sober at 19 years old and depressed and I couldn't handle it, to psychology, addiction counseling, health coaching. There it is, baby brain, health coaching. And then finally doing from health coaching into interior design, totally diverted because I didn't have the confidence to do what I'm doing now. And then from interior design to finally doing what I'm doing now, which is NLP, EFT, time techniques, hypnotherapy, and all of the things. So I understand the pivot very, very well. And I want you to know that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to pivot, but it's not always necessary. So here's the difference. If you're sitting on like, should I be adapting? Should I be pivoting? What's this all mean? Because how many of you, since the new norm of coronavirus has come into our life and changed our world drastically very, very quickly, how many of you have heard the word pivot? I've seen it all over social media. I have so many Instagram influencers saying, oh, how are you pivoting your business? Or you need to pivot. You need to pivot. What are you doing to pivot? And I'm sitting there watching these posts and I'm like, what is this all about? Why do we need to pivot? Yes, some of us will. Some of us will need to pivot because our business model might not be sustainable in our current time. However, as online entrepreneurs, a lot of us actually don't need to pivot. And it's a lot of fear mongering, in my honest opinion. So what's actually better is to adapt. Say a lot. Yes, a lot of people are saying pivot. Yeah, many times now. So how many of you, based off of what's going on in the world, whether it's a health fear, financial fear, the pivot fear, how many of you, Ross on Friends, right? Yeah. How many of you have felt any fear or apprehension and what it means to the sustainability of your business currently? I'm curious. Give me a yes, maybe, kind of, a little bit. Let me know. How many of you have felt that fear of, what does this mean to my business? Are my clients going to keep paying me? Am I going to be able to sign clients right now? Am I going to have to lower my prices? I've seen people, like people I know, who are selling $1,000 coaching packages suddenly just completely go for free. Like they're doing their services purely for free. Not because they want to contribute, like this I'm doing for free because I want to contribute. I still get paid for my clients though, but because they think that suddenly the economy is completely crashed and nobody is buying. I've been wanting to pivot for my own reasons for years, but it's still scary. Yes, the pivot is scary for sure. Definitely yes to this. Jama, I believe it is. I think I saw somebody else correct your name. Tell me if I'm right. Jama, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so here's my question for you. What if I told you that adapting right now rather than pivoting is actually going to be more beneficial to you and your business? You and the sustainability of your business right now. I'm reading the comments. I felt that a little bit more, so haven't too much though. Yeah, it was a lot at the very beginning, for sure. Hey, Jess. Okay, so what if I told you that adapting would be much more beneficial than pivoting right now? And then the next thing I want you to think of is, what if I told you it's as easy as implementing just a few minor tweaks to your strategy and your messaging? Wouldn't you want to know how? If you want to know how, give me a hell yes, because I'm about to drop the truth on all of this. While I read the comments, I'll wait for the yeses. Okay, perfect. Megan's saying, more so, how do I get in front of the people who need my healing services? You're about to learn how, because there's a simple tweak that needs to happen in your messaging right now, which is what we're going to be talking about. Perfect. Jess is like, hell yes. Amazing. Okay, so let's dive right in. So, like I mentioned, there are a few yes to all of this, all of the yeses. Great. Okay, so like I mentioned, you will need the Entrepreneur's Guide to go through this because it will support you better. So grab that, download it. It's in the description. You can download it later and watch the replay if you really, really want. But if you go through it with me, it'll kind of make a little more sense. So in that, there's the first activity we do is called a business inventory. In order to really figure out where you need to be, you got to figure out where are the leaks in your business first. Is it in your emails? Is it in your sales? Is it in your energetics? We spoke about energetics yesterday, and energetics really does play a very big part into the success of our business, just like mindset does. Melissa says, where is that? So the link is in the description, but I'm going to quickly copy and paste it and put it here for you as well in the comments right now. Okay, so leaks in your business. Inventory. There's a business inventory worksheet in there. That's going to help you identify the leaks. So for example, let's say your leak, which is probably, I'm guessing for many of you guys right now, just based off of the economy and what's going on in the world, your leak is cash flow. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, oh, I need to generate a lot of cash flow right now, or I'm losing a lot of payments, and yada, 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 which doesn't have to be the case. So let's say your leak is cash flow. How can you adapt to the current times to maintain consistent cash flow and to also achieve even more cash flow? Think about that for a minute. I have a bunch of ideas, but before I just spit them out at you, I want you to really go inward and think, what can I do? And if you have some ideas, share them with me. Okay, so that's a mistake, guys. Apparently, so I'm sorry about this. I'm going to apologize publicly to you. Apparently, you have to enter your phone number in order to get access to the guide. That's not supposed to be mandatory. So enter it. That way you can get access to the guide. If you don't want to receive any text messages from me, just send an email to support. Once you get the confirmation email, just reply back saying, please don't send me text messages, and we won't include you in that, okay? But like, we're not even sending text messages out right now anyway. But I want you to know that that's my honor to you, that if you don't want any text messages, we won't be sending you text messages. Okay, so moving on. My apologies. Gotta speak to my team about that one. So cash flow. If your leak is cash flow, what can you do to adapt to the current times? So for example, right now, this is the perfect time for affiliate marketing. Utilize your current customer base to share your products and services for you. Utilize your extended network. For example, I have an affiliate program that I've had for a while with my current Transcend Academy coaching certification students. I usually only have affiliate programs for my alumni and my coaching clients. I don't let public, like outsiders, affiliate for my work because they don't know who I am. But when this first happened, I saw how many people were losing jobs. I saw how there was this desperate need for money. And so I was like, what can I do to support all these people? I can't really give people money because I'm starting a family. My husband isn't working right now. And my business honestly isn't where I truly want it to be at yet. So how else can I contribute? Well, I can put money in the hands of the people who need it if I make my affiliate marketing program available to those who are in the public, who don't have a job right now. Maybe they've come across my work before, and they just need some kind of added income. Because with Transcend Academy, you can earn 449 USD per sale. That's huge, you guys. That's somebody's monthly grocery budget or somebody's lease on their car. So if I can give that to somebody, why wouldn't I? So I opened my affiliate marketing up to the public, which not only helps those people in need, but it also supports me. So it's a win-win. Another thing you can do is look at your customer value journey. You probably have to adapt this and change this a little bit. So the next thing in the guide is you're going to see a sheet that looks like this, similar to this, okay? And so we're going to go through it very, very quickly. There's one section in particular we're going to be working on much deeper today, like focusing on one whole thing, but I'll go through it with you. Are you guys with me so far? Give me a yes, give me a question. Tell me what you're thinking. I want to make sure that we're rocking and rolling and everyone's with me. I'll also change, just so you guys know, if you're apprehensive about the phone number, I feel really bad about that. I'm also going to change that once I hop off so that you don't have to enter that. And maybe I'll just put a comment below so you know that it's been fixed. Okay, I'm not seeing comments come through. Maybe there's a lag, maybe you're just quiet, but we're gonna keep going. So, customer value journey. This probably needs some work. If you're seeing a leak in your cash flow, or if you're seeing, like Megan said, what did she say? How to reach my people, was it? Getting in front of the people, yes. Okay, so the first box, which you won't be able to see on my computer, but you'll see in the guide, is awareness. This is where your prospects becomes aware of who you are and what it is that you do. So it's really introducing yourself, and this is where strong content comes in. It's the blog post, it's the podcast, it's the first meeting, essentially. Then there's engagement, the next box. This is where people start actually reading the blogs or start listening to the podcast and almost like really exploring who you are and what you're about. Then there's subscribe. So the subscribe stage is where people are either exchanging their phone number or their email, some type of information in exchange for value that you're going to provide them. So it could also be a purchase, but usually it's something free, and so that could be subscribing to a webinar, it could be subscribing to a masterclass, it could be subscribing to the summit, right? You guys all subscribed to this. And then it's convert. So from subscribing, whether it's a challenge, whatever it is, there's converting. There's two different types of conversions here. There's the client or the prospect is converting to your wallet, meaning they're paying for a service, or they're converting to your calendar, meaning they have put their information in and they are landing in your calendar to talk to you about something. Once the client has been converted or prospect has been converted to client, the next stage is excite. This is a stage where a lot of people miss out and forget about. In order to maintain and retain your customer client satisfaction, you need to be able to excite and engage your audience constantly, especially your paying clients. So that looks like a certain Facebook group or additional bonuses or added value in some shape or form. Maybe it's a free course, whatever it might be, something to keep them busy while they're waiting for the product if it hasn't been launched yet, or something that allows them to have that accountability. Because oftentimes, for example, if you take an evergreen course, a digital program that's self-paced, How many of you have purchased something that you've never actually jumped into? You just kind of leave it. Maybe you open up the first module, but then you never continue on with it. Why didn't you continue on with it? Well, there was no accountability. There's nobody holding your hand saying, hey, let's do module 2 this week, or hey, let's do this, or there was no friend to go through it with, or there was no mentor. And so, for example, if you're doing an evergreen program, how do you excite your clients? Send them weekly emails to keep them on task, to keep them on pace with the program. Have that Facebook group. Stacy says, my customers are all saying they have a cash flow problem and don't want to purchase, trying to limit spending. Candy says, that is me. Yes. So here's the next part, which is what we're going to focus on. So I went through that very briefly because the main part I want us to focus on in the guide is the box that says ascend. So ascend is essentially like, think of it like an ascension ladder, where this is your product suite. So you're going to have a low ticket offer, especially right now. If you don't have a low ticket offer, I want you to adapt to create a low ticket offer. You're going to have a low ticket offer, a medium ticket offer, a high ticket offer. Because yes, people are still buying right now. I just signed 2 clients for one-on-one coaching, okay? So yes, people are purchasing high ticket offers, but not everybody is. Because a lot of people are living in fear. A lot of people have lost their income right now, and so they're not thinking about investing. Here, we're going to get into messaging in a minute. Some people are, because they're like, oh God, I got to do something quick, and it's putting fire under their ass. For other people, they're sitting in that fear, lack, and scarcity, and they're not going to be able to justify a $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 program right now. So if you don't have a low offer, please create one. So there's 3 different types. There's the low ticket, low support. So that's, that evergreen program we were talking about, anywhere from like $200 down. Ideally, when you're creating your low offer, you want to think of the intention behind it. So if your intention is to grow your audience with this low offer, maybe you don't price it at $200, but you price it at $97 or $50, $49, and you get people in the doors into your world and provide value that way, so that they have that know, like, and trust factor. They have rapport with you, so that they'll can likely continue the journey. If your intention for your low offer is to generate quick, rapid cash flow, maybe it's not a program like that, but maybe it's a one-on-one session, like a quick one-off session rather than your 4-month coaching program. You price it at, I don't know, $100 a month, $100 a session, rather than your regular hourly rate if it was in a session, which would have been like $300 or $500, whatever it might be. Okay, so low ticket, low support. Think of that. What is your intention behind it? Is it to reach the masses and grow your audience? Or is it to generate quick, rapid cash flow for yourself? Because how you go about things are going to, what your desired outcome is, there's a word. What your desired outcome is what's going to determine what you actually put on the market. For example, another one is membership sites. Memberships are amazing right now because there's low commitment. It's affordable for people. It's no different to a gym membership. And that, for those people, is probably right where they're at, because they're getting the support they need, they're getting the value they need, and it's a low price point. The mid-range is mid-range with some support. So this would look like a group coaching program maybe, where it's anywhere between $500 to $2,000, let's say, depending on where you're at. And then the high ticket is, again, depending on your journey, however many thousands of dollars. For mid and high tickets, how you adapt is this, because people are still buying. Remember that. People are still buying. They're only not buying if you believe that they're not buying, which comes down to messaging and mindset and energetics, which you did yesterday. So if you believe that people aren't buying, go back and do day 1 videos again. So how you adapt currently to achieve mid and high range packages right now is extended payment plans. Throw in an extended payment plan. You can also do a extended payment plan with no financing, no additional financing. A lot of times if you do an extended payment plan, people will add interest. Take that interest off. Make it easy for people. You can also do a ton of value added bonuses. For example, I just did a very quick sale for Easter. I didn't plan on it, but I did a very quick sale for Easter to reopen the doors for 3 days to my Transcend Academy coaching certification. I offered $500 off, and there was a huge added bonus in there. For anybody who chose to pay in full, I gave them a free breakthrough day. That alone is an additional $2,700 just for a virtual breakthrough day with me. And they got that for free. So what additional value can you add that makes it easy for people to say yes? Okay? Are you with me? Because we're about to move on to messaging, which is the part that I'm really fired up about. I just wanted to do a brief overview on this stuff. It's in the guide. It goes into detail. It's pretty self-explanatory. So wanted to address it, but I'm about to get really fired up about messaging. So let me know if you're with me. Okay, just reading comments before we continue. I think we're good to continue. Questions, let me know, please. Megan says yes with you. Megan's like, yay, I'm so excited. We're in the messaging part. This is what I need to know. Okay. So I just want to, Megan's like super engaged, and she actually told me specifically what her problem was. So I'm going to be referring to her a lot. If you guys share what your problem is with me, I'll be referring to you a lot as well. So do that, because it is free coaching. But I want to scroll up and see. It was, how do I get in front of people who need my healing services, which is related to messaging. Okay, so I'm going to use her as examples. Perfect. So Megan probably needs to know how to, 1, get the prospect interested, and 2, then convert the prospect through messaging. So here's the thing. Your messaging, the hottest tip on social media right now. What's up with my earring? What's happening? There we go. The hottest tip, or the secret weapon that I like to say, this is where we're getting into NLP. It's not the followers. It's not the likes. It's not the comments. It's not the number of IGTV views. It's none of that. It's your communication, you guys. And so we're about to do a brief lesson on communication. So in order for you to understand how we actually communicate to each other and what communication actually means on a subconscious level, where all thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors are created, which then determines your client's buying decision. Oh, my screen just like blacked out. Am I with you still? Let's hope we're still together. Which then determines your buying decision, or the client's buying decision, right? That's what you need to know. How does the brain actually work? Not how do I write a fancy call to action. You need to know, how does the brain work so I can get with my clients. So very, very, this is why I want you to jump into Unlocked Potential, because we go way deeper into what this means. That's the first resource I gave you guys. But essentially, there's something called the P communication model, which is how we take communication in, how we understand information around us. So very quickly, what this means is, at any given moment, we have 2.3 million bits of information all around us. But that's too much information for us to take in at one time. We would just be overwhelmed if we were taking that in consciously. So our subconscious mind is always busy working behind the scenes, either deleting what's not needed for us, distorting information, or generalizing information so that we can handle it, and it packages it into certain chunks. So with that being said, this information comes in, it gets sifted out into what's totally necessary for us to handle within that moment. What gets sifted out, that then comes to the forefront of our conscious mind. And what determines what comes to the forefront is what we call our filters. So our filters are time, mood, location, our programming, our meta programs, so our values and our beliefs, our identity, certain things like that. For example, one brief quick example, first one I mentioned was time. If I called you in the middle of the night and I said, hey so-and-so, hey Sally, hey Becky, hey Megan, hey Melissa, hey Amanda, I really, really, really want to come over and bake a cake with you. I don't have any flour. Can we bake a cake? If I asked you that at 3 a.m. in the morning and you for some reason picked up your phone thinking there was an emergency probably, what would you say? You'd probably be like, Rachel, you're mad. I'm trying to sleep. Like, what are you calling me for? But on the flip side, if I called you at, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. on a Sunday, you'd say, sure, I'm around today. Come over, right? So our filters really determine our response to things. So that sifts out what information comes to our conscious mind, what's needed. That then creates whatever information gets into our conscious mind, then creates an internal representation, which is otherwise known as a picture in our head. So for example, if I say think of a, or don't think of a blue tree, what are you thinking of right now? Probably a blue tree, because you had to think of a blue tree in order to not think of a blue tree. So that's an example of an internal representation. I say a word or I say something and your mind creates a picture around it. And that internal representation combined with your state, which is your physiology, otherwise known as energetics in a way, which you learned yesterday, then creates your outcome or your values and beliefs around the world. Your values and beliefs create your results or your thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts and feelings then create your action, which creates your results. So our results are purely linked to what communication, what information we are taking in at any given moment. Pretty crazy, right? So that's a very brief overview. In Unlocked Potential, I go way deeper to allow you to really absorb it and understand it. But I wanted you to understand that before we get into how do we actually use messaging and communication for you. I'm going to quickly read comments. How to get perspective. Oh, that's a really good one, Stacy. And then Megan as well. So Megan, this is where energetics comes into play. You know, I'm very energetic as well. I'm somebody who strongly believes that your authenticity is your biggest marketing tool. So some people will say show up daily, post 5 times a day, whatever, like use all the hashtags, whatever. The strategy works, but what's more important is your level of communication, which we're about to talk about, and also your energetics and mindset behind it. If you don't believe that it's not going to work, it's not going to work. So your energetics and your level of communication is far more important than the actual strategy. So I'm teaching you a different type of strategy today. It's not the how many times do I post, but how do I get my message across? And so how you get your message across is through 2 things. Really, it's a lot of things, but I'm going to teach you 2 things today that are easy that you can implement right away. The first one is rapport. The second one is quantum linguistics. So let's talk about rapport for a minute. So many of us think that rapport is simply just like, you know, that feeling of likeness, which it is, but like going into a store or a party and you want to make friends with somebody because maybe you want them on your side, or maybe you genuinely want to be friends with somebody and you say, oh my God, I love your sweater. It's so cute. So you try and open up that line of communication. You try and find something similar between each other. That's actually not rapport. That's rapport on a conscious level. We can create rapport on an unconscious level, and it's so much easier. So in terms of your messaging, to create rapport, the first thing you want to do is think like your ideal client. So who is your ideal client? And you want to think like them. And what I mean by that is, are they toward motivated or are they away motivated? And what this means is, if they're toward motivated, which probably many of you are since you're in this summit, you're pulled by your vision. You're wanting, like you're fired up, you're ready for that, you're pulled by your vision and your desires. Away motivated are people who are sitting in that lack and scarcity or poor me feelings where pain is leveraged to them. They get pushed by pain to make a change or to take action. So think like your ideal client. Are they toward motivated or away motivated? Hint, if you are a coach coaching other coaches, they're likely or entrepreneurs, whatever it might be, likely toward motivated because they already have that vision. Not all of them, it's not always the case, but they're already on that journey of being pulled by their vision. If you're somebody who is working with people who are in abusive relationships, maybe, or toxic relationships, they might be away motivated because they haven't really seen that vision yet or that glimmer of hope. They just know they need to do something different. So what that means is first you think like them, then you speak like them. So speaking like them can mean a bunch of different things. For example, in Toronto, we have this saying like, oh, I'm from the 6th. That instantly creates a community. That instantly creates rapport. Or how many of us these days say all the things, all the things, all the things? That slogan and saying caught on because we all wanted to be in rapport with each other. So that's one way of speaking like them. But what I mean in this instance of speaking like them is if they're toward motivated, speak in toward motivated language. And if they're away motivated, speak in away motivated language. So if they're toward motivated, you're going to be speaking to their desires. If they're away motivated, you're going to be speaking to their pain points. How many times have you gone on to a landing page and the first thing you see is, are you tired of living unhealthy? Are you unsatisfied in your body? Are you take control of your life? Yada, 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 yada. Are you this? Are you that? Are you that? There's a problem with that. The problem is it's not going to work for everybody because not everyone's away motivated. The other thing is when you are talking to away motivated people, maybe that caught their attention, but by the end of the sales page, they have left them in that internal representation, in that picture. Remember we spoke about pictures, the pictures that get created. So here they are. Yeah, I'm tired of being overweight. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of not living my dream body. And that's all they see. They see that. And they get to the bottom of the sales page where it says sign up. And they're not going to sign up because you have not managed to give them a glimmer of hope. If you are talking to people who are away motivated, yes, you want to point out their pain points, but you also want to bring them to their desire points after. Because if you leave them in that dark gloom, they're going to stay there. Why would they take action? There's no hope for them. But if you take them from the dark gloom to being able to create an internal representation, that picture in their head, that maybe something can be different for them. Maybe they can have energy, just wake up and like want to go to the kitchen to drink their lemon water, or whatever that internal representation is, the abs, the bikini body, whatever. Then you've given them that hope. And when they see that hope, that's when they're going to purchase. Does that make sense? Are you with me so far? Let me know if you're with me. But some are toward motivated because I am offering. Yeah, so Megan, for you, your best approach would probably be what I just explained, where you're doing the toward motivated, but you're also doing a mix of the away motivated. Another thing to think about is how do people communicate? For example, yes, perfect. So that you can has become a statement that has been so beneficial. Yes, that's actually something you want to say is so that you can. So you're always putting the result, that internal representation. What you're literally doing when you say so that you can blank is you're putting that internal representation in their head. Melissa says, I love this. Thank you. Okay, great. So we're going to be moving on because we're at 40 minutes and I'm going to have to jump off soon. I don't want to go over for the next speaker. But there's, again, this goes deeper into the guide, but this is just a small glimpse of how you can create rapport. Another way, so think like them and then speak like them. Another way you can create rapport is through matching and mirroring. So think like them, speak like them. Your messaging then got them on a discovery call, let's say, or had them to actually book, and now they're your client. Doesn't matter which one, okay? So now you're going to be matching and mirroring them. So that means, this works very well in discovery calls, by the way. That means, let's say I'm on a discovery call with you right now, and you're sitting like I am right now, like you're kind of slouched back with, like you're leaning back to one side. Maybe you notice their body language and you just shift your body language on the camera on Zoom to do the same while you talk. And maybe they're talking like I am right now, really slow and calm. But you're a very excited and high-paced and fast-paced person, and so you're talking really, really fast and really high-pitched. But you notice that they're talking like this, very calm, laid back. I just want you to bring your high-paced voice down to a more calm voice. Now, you don't have to copy them. This is not copying. If you're somebody who tends to be really up here in the energy, like really high-paced, really fast, and really loud, it's gonna be weird. They're gonna notice if you come down to a level of this. But they won't notice if you go from all the way up here to just down here, right? It's a different level. So that's called matching and mirroring. You can match and mirror through your body language. You can match and mirror through your breathing rate. So notice how they're breathing. Notice how they're sitting. If another way you can do is cross mirroring. So let's say they're sitting like this and they're really anxious and antsy because they're talking about on their discovery calls something that they just don't like. Maybe it's money mindset. Maybe it's coming to the investment and you can tell there's a money mindset block there, but thankfully you're a fantastic business coach. You understand communication and you also know how to release money mindset blocks. And so that doesn't faze you. They're just like this. You have the solution. Rather than doing the same thing, going like this, maybe you just lean back in your chair a little bit. I'm standing, but maybe you just lean back in your chair a little bit where they can see you, and you start like tapping your finger on your leg or tapping your finger on your elbow. So it's still the same action, just somewhere else. So it's not as noticeable. So you can match your tone of voice, your speed of your voice, your breathing rate, your actions, and that's going to instantly bring you into rapport without even having to say, oh my God, I like your sweater, even if you don't. Okay? Give it a try. I challenge you guys to try it. Go to a restaurant when we are allowed to go to restaurants and try matching and mirroring somebody across the room and see what happens. I bet you somebody eventually will come up to you and be like, I feel like we know each other. Have we met before? Because that's all rapport really is. It's not actually liking that person. It's just having that feeling and sense of knowingness and likeness. And what we want to do to attract our audience is build that know, like, and trust factor. And so that's so much more than just having them know our interests or having them know our skills and techniques and our credentials. It's really building rapport with our audience. Awesome. Thank you. This is exactly what I need today. Yay! I'm so happy because we're not even done. So the next communication trick I'm going to teach you is called quantum linguistics. So now that you're in rapport with your prospect, client, because they've either signed already or they're about to sign with you, this is where how you communicate comes into play. What you say to the person either on that discovery call or in that coaching session to really get the result that they desire as a client or that you both desire in a discovery call. Because the truth is, if they're on a discovery call with you, they want the change. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed up for that call. So, quantum linguistics. Let's talk about that. What is that? What does that mean and how do we use it? Quantum linguistics are essentially just masterful language patterns. It's being able to use language consciously. And so this makes you a fantastic communicator. You can use it, like I said, in your coaching sessions. You can use it in sales. You can use it in your relationships. NLP your family, guys. It works. It'll enhance your relationships. And so before I dive into how we use language, I want you to think about this. Within our communication, only 7% is our words. 38% is our tonality, so how we say our words, and then 55% is physiology, which is our body language. So if 7% is only what we're actually saying, how do we use what we're saying in a way that effectively gets the results that we desire? So I'm going to teach you in the guide, there's a whole bunch of what we call language frames to get those results we desire. I'm going to go over 3 of what I think will probably be the most useful ones for you. And then we'll wrap it up. So the first one is called the purpose frame. And that's for what we call chunking up, meaning we're going to the broader picture to discover, for example, motivation. So for example, let's say you're working with a client. You can also do this in discovery calls to find out why they're on a call with you. But let's say you're working with a client and they say, or even a friend, but let's say you're working with a client and they say, I'm doing this like really big launch and I'm just so stressed out and overwhelmed. Like I can't handle it. Like I just want to give up. I don't know what to do. And you can also ask yourself this if maybe you felt like this before. All you got to say is, for what purpose? For what purpose do you feel overwhelmed? Or sorry, not overwhelmed, because that would be chunking down. For what purpose are you doing this launch? If you know their motivation, they'll say, well, I got to make money. Or I really just want to create an impact. If you know their motivation behind why they're doing that launch, maybe as the coach and effective practitioner that you are in the healing realm or whatever it might be, maybe you can see that there's an easier way for them to actually achieve that sense of impact that they're desiring. Or there's a more effective way of generating that cash flow goal that they have without having to do the full-on live launch, without having to do the Instagram stories, the posts 5 times a day, without having to do the email campaigns and all the things that are overwhelming them. But until we know their motivation for what purpose, we can't help them. So the next frame is the what if frame. The what if frame is for getting your client or your prospect, this works great on discovery calls as well, to consider possibilities. So oftentimes, this is great as a parent as well. I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I've seen it done with kids because we can be moody. All of us can be moody, but sometimes kids throw tantrums, right? So let's talk about it in the terms of clients since this is a business summit. So you're going to use the what if frame to get your client to consider possibilities. So oftentimes when we're in a problem, we are so laser focused that we kind of can't see beyond. Like, how many times have you felt like you're just doomed and gloomed and you're stuck and there's just nothing you can do about it? Maybe even before you popped on this live, or when COVID was first declared in like a global pandemic, you just were like, oh my God, this is it. My business is blowing up. I'm done. That's just it. There's no other solution. I'm done. Right? We've all felt that kind of back up against the wall, kind of, cornered victim mentality, essentially. There's no other solution possible for us. And so you want to use the what if frame for that, to create more possibilities. Because oftentimes, all you got to say is, what if this to the client? And show them a possibility. Because oftentimes if we say, oh, well, why don't you do it this way? Rather than saying, what if this happened instead? Or what if you did this? Or what if this result came instead? Instead of, when we give them possibilities rather than telling somebody what to do, if we tell somebody what to do, there's going to be resistance. Oftentimes they'll refute the answer. And as a coach, it's much more empowering to the client to allow them to come up with the answer. And so not only are they coming up with the answer, which then builds more confidence for them or self-trust in their intuition, but it also breaks the cycle of dependency. As a coach, we actually don't want our clients to be messaging us constantly or feeling like they can't live life without us and they're constantly renewing packages. Like, yes, that's great, but that is not what we're here for. If you're in this field ethically, with integrity, your goal isn't to constantly renew your client. If they want to continue with you, great, but they should not be dependent upon you. Your goal is to guide them to the transformation that they desire so that they can hit that next level in their life. If they move on from you, then you have done your job, okay? So that breaks the cycle of dependency, and it also allows them to see other possibilities. So all you would say is, what would happen if blank? So you can use this on discovery calls. Maybe, again, we were talking about money mindset. Maybe they're scared to put that money down because their husband they really want to move forward, but their husband has a lot of money issues. Well, what would happen if the return on your investment was X amount instead, or you gained more from the investment than you did when you put down? Or what would happen if he was actually okay with it? What would happen if he supported you? There's so many different possibilities. I could just keep going, right? So what would happen if? And this also allows them to go inside and create that internal representation of what they want to create. So what would happen if your husband was actually on board and they see that image and they're like, oh my God, yes, he's on board. That's a very different feeling than being like, oh no, my husband's not going to want me to put my money down on this. And so how they approach their husband is going to be very different. And then from that point, the result they're going to get from having that conversation with their husband is also going to be different. So what would happen if also puts a positive internal representation into their head for a better or different possibility, which is something that is super important. And when you say that very quickly, I want to note that you want to make sure that you're saying it as you want it. So what would happen if you successfully attained your launch with ease and grace? Rather than, because we're talking about the overwhelm in the first one, right? The overwhelm of the launch. So I'm using that as an example. What would happen if you successfully attained your launch goal with ease and grace? Listen to that compared to what would happen if you successfully attained your launch goal without the stress? Even though you said without the stress, the word stress was there. And just like the don't think of a blue tree, in order to not think of a blue tree, we first have to think of a blue tree. So what's happening is when you say without the stress, your mind is first thinking of the stress, but then it's like, oh, no, wait, but I don't want to think about the stress. So what would that look like without the stress? So the better way to say it is just, what would happen if you successfully attained your goal with ease and grace? It feels different, doesn't it? It feels lighter. And so you can create possibilities that way. Which brings me into our last language frame, which is using internal representations. Meaning, like I mentioned, you want to say it the way you want it, and you want to use at least 5 different, I'm going to say convincers, 5 different convincers or internal representations. So, for example, most people will need to see your content from anywhere from 7 to 13 times in order to even get on a call with you or in order to actually purchase. And I've actually heard that that's jumped to 21 times now just because the times have changed. So you need to use a lot of positive internal representation stating it exactly how they want it. And so, for example, going back to that health and fitness goal, releasing weight, maybe it's saying like, sorry, my earrings are bothering me. Maybe it's saying like you're going to look so great in that dress, or you're going to love going to the gym and you're going to want to go to the gym. You're going to wake up feeling so energized to go to the gym, and you're going to feel so confident in your new identity. And people are going to be complimenting you. Like, what is it that, but I'm not saying you make this up. This is like you're listening to their desires and then you're repeating them and creating those internal representations for them, which really creates that internal picture in their mind, which then makes it easier for them and also necessary for them to take the action. Because like, oh my God, yes, I'm pulled now. Like I need that to get the desired result. So one thing when you create internal representations is you want to attend to the person's different auditory, the person's senses, essentially. I'm trying to keep it in layman's terms for you guys. So what you want to do is you want to create what will they see, hear, and feel. For example, if you're on a discovery call and you want to know what their desires are so you can embed them in later when you're closing the sale, you'll say, what will you see, hear, and feel when you achieve that goal? Listen to what they say and then just repeat it to them later on to create that internal representation. So I'll see the number on the scale, or I'll see myself looking amazing in a bathing suit. I'll hear my husband saying, wow, look at you. And I'll feel confident and sexy. When they say that, when you go to close the sale, you repeat that to them. That's their return on investment right there, regardless of the money that they make or whatever it might be. Because also, A spiritual or emotional transformation is far more valuable than money itself. So you actually have an advantage of creating that when you provide the added value and use your language effectively. So, how's everyone doing? We have a few minutes. We're about to wrap up. Just want to make sure we have any questions. And then we'll do a quick meditation thing. Is there a way to frame this if you're not a coach? Yes. So please tell me what you are or what you do, and we can work on that. We are at, I'm like at time though. So what I'll do is, Michaela, just tell me what you do in the comments. I'll pop back in to support you in that. And then same with anybody else. Tell me what you do. Tell me what you want to know, how you can apply these to your business. Oh, real estate. Erica says real estate. I thought that was Michaela answering that. Creative agency, content marketing. Okay, perfect. These are all great professions where you can apply this. So I'll pop into the comments and help you guys with that. So what I want you to do now, lash artist. I love that because lash artists are basically coaches. How many of you guys like you go to get your lashes done and you just hear so many life stories from the girl sitting beside you to the girl who's like actually doing your lashes, vice versa. Yes. Okay. Amazing. So I'm going to pop into the comments later on and go through all these and guide you guys because unfortunately we're at time, but I will absolutely do that. So what I want you to do is close your eyes for a minute if you're somewhere safe where you can close your eyes. Just take a nice big deep breath in and exhale out. 2 more in. Exhale out. 1 more in. Exhale out. And I want you to envision your goals and your desires. Your end goal for this quarter, what you initially came here for, the summit, what do you expect to get out of this summit? Think of your goals and desires. And if you don't have any goals at all, then set one now, but I'm sure you do. And I want you to just get in touch with that vision and that goal. I want you to really notice what you see achieving that goal. Notice what you hear achieving that goal. And notice what you feel achieving that goal. And just get in touch with those emotions. Get in touch with that internal representation. And amplify it. Maybe you make it bigger. Maybe you make it brighter. Maybe you make it louder. Maybe you feel the feelings take over your entire body. Just amplify that internal representation. I'm really feeling that at a peak. I want you to ask yourself, what if by taking this knowledge that you learned today, and the knowledge you learned yesterday, and the knowledge that's about to come, and applying it, and choosing to adapt, that you're able to achieve your goals easily and effortlessly. How would that feel? I have a feeling so many of you are probably fired up and ready to go right now. Like, yes, that would be amazing. So what I want you to do is with that vision, you know that sound like a master lock makes? Just like lock it in place, like lock that picture in place. It's there for you always. And so with that being said, if your eyes are still closed, you can come back to the room whenever you're ready. Please take the time to go through the guide. It will support you on this much further. Please take the time to go through Unlocked Potential, because that is the foundation of what NLP is, which is the foundation of understanding the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is responsible for 99.996% of all thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors. So in order for us to create change in ourselves, create change in our clients, whether you are a coach or whether you're a real estate agent, that change can be having them purchase that house or whatever it is that you do. We need to understand how to utilize the subconscious mind. So take the time to understand how that works. And you'll see your potential completely unlock, which is why I called it Unlocked Potential. So take the time to go through that, okay? That is my big ask for you. And then come back in the comments, tell me how you're doing. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. And I just want to take a minute to thank you ladies for engaging with me throughout this video, this training. Thank you for being so amazing, sharing your fears, your desires, what it is that you do. I'm going to pop into these comments later tonight once I'm done all my calls. And I look forward to connecting with so many of you. You know where to find me. I'm at the Rachel Joy 1, and I'm wishing you all the best in health, wealth, happiness, and success. Mwah. Bye.